Hello everybody, welcome to my channel. Today I am going to explain and recap a recently released comedy horror film called American Carnage. If you like these videos, then please subscribe to my channel. It really helps. In the beginning, we see a clip on how Latin Americans helped to build America. Then how their immigration became a political hot potato. We see politicians actively advocating against them. Next, we see a guy by the name of JP working at a fast food restaurant. He handles a few racist teenagers very smartly, then his sister Lily asks him to be at home by 8. Apparently, she got selected by Columbia University, hence there was a party. JP was a little surprised and fearful about this as New York was very far from where they were staying. Back at the house, Lily assures his caring brother that everything will be all right. Education will be the ticket out of poverty. She shows him her cool new tattoo of a butterfly behind the ears, symbolizing freedom to fly and to do anything. JP's mom gives a nice speech and everyone started enjoying the party. Lily was an expert in origami art. She had made art for JP with dork written on it, implying his status. Just then we see a bunch of police officers barging in here. They arrest everyone. Apparently, the state's Governor Finn had signed an executive order of arresting all illegal immigrants. This included children who were born in the United States. The charge on kids was they were aiding and abetting their parents, meaning living with illegal immigrant parents was deemed to be an offense. Obviously, there were many protests about this. Many called this violation of human rights. But Governor Finn justified it by saying they were illegal. Period. Nearly 2 million people were taken to camps. At the camp, JP saw his sister Lily climbing up a bus as she was taken to another camp. A civil rights lawyer informs JP that the executive order is held valid in court. We can go to the Supreme Court, but it will take years to resolve. You as an American-born man can claim your mother as a biological family and stop her from being deported. For that first, you have to get out of this detention center yourself. Being inside, you can't press the charges. Hence I made a deal with the DA office. They are offering a deal to you and guys like you. You have to complete this community service program at an elderly center. After that, you will be free to go. JP accepts this offer. At the center, we see many other kids who have taken their plea bargain. Camila's mother was from Mexico, and she was an American citizen. Chris had chronic anxiety, asthma, and delusional disorder. Big Mac asks an interesting question here. You guys arrested me because I am black or Latino or both. Mika was a gluten-free, vegan, Democrat with Argentinian parents. The guard Bruce places an ankle monitor on these kids and says you will be monitored 24/7. If you try to escape the center, we will know. In charge of this center was Mr. Eddie Davies. He gave the orientation and says, don't consider this as some sort of punishment program, but consider this as a life lesson. Serving our seniors will help you understand the complexity of life and its problems. This is Cynthia and James, your supervisors. You will report to them and this will be interesting. James and Cynthia show these kids their sleeping quarters, their daily routine. This place was an old age home where these kids were supposed to help them in whatever way. At lunch, Big Mac asks Micah what the hell she is doing here, as she was white. Micah laughed a little and said Argentinians are white too. Chris was not at all okay with this. He generally disliked old people. He went on complaining as this place might not be what it looks like. Camila just wanted to finish her course and go home. After lunch, kids went separate to do their job. JP saw a sad-looking old lady in a wheelchair. To cheer her up, he started reading a book. Suddenly the old lady started crying and screaming. She said you all will die here again and again. Cynthia gave her a dose of sedative and knocked her out. JP was confused. By snack time, Chris's anxiety was running high. He was desperate to run from here. Despite the advice from his friends against it, he tries to escape. As soon as he does that, his ankle monitor starts to beep. Guards arrest him. At midnight, JP was awake for a leak. He saw an owl outside keeping a vigil. When he returned, an old lady by the name of Mrs. Wells was roaming naked. She attacked JP and kept on saying, Virgil will set you free. Virgil will set you free. JP didn't understand what she's saying. Just then James and other guards arrived there. They sedated her. The next morning Mr. Davis took these kids to their dementia wing where old people suffering from dementia were there. Mrs. Wells was also suffering from dementia, hence the attack. Today Mr. Davis asks these kids to work here in this wing. While helping one Mr. Yates, James calls JP by the slang of hombre. JP was taken aback. He directly tells him not to say that. James laughs at this and says, "I will call you hombre, chico, nacho, burrito, or whatever hell I want." Clearly, he was a racist prick and JP was in such a situation where he can't do anything about it. Just suddenly an old man bites JP's hand from behind, which causes severe bleeding. JP was knocked out. When he woke up, Micah was beside him. She treated his wounds. JP thanks her. At lunchtime, Big Mac complains about the quality of shitty noodles. Chris was missing and nobody had any idea where he was. Camila asks Cynthia about Chris. She says they sent him back to the detention center. This is what happens when you try to escape from here. As Cynthia leaves, Big Mac says she might be lying. "This morning I got Chris's asthma inhaler lying in the hallway. If he is really gone, then what this is doing here? He may be here, not eating or doing tantrums." At night we see the same old lady in a wheelchair with Big Mac. He brought her to Mr. Phillips' room to binge watch a movie together. By the looks of it, Mr. Phillips was not interested. He was sleeping without saying a word. As Big Mac was trying to figure out how to turn on an old VCR player, Mr. Phillip woke up suddenly. He started behaving as if he is possessed. His hands, legs, and body started twisting. Finally, he died. This scared the shit out of Big Mac and the lady. The next day Mr. Davis informs his staff that the death of Mr. Phillip is a mystery. "We will conduct a full inquiry." He had noticed the misunderstanding between James and JP, hence he took them for a talk. He shows JP his owl, Virgil, and points at a distance tree. The tree was inhabited by Tyrannus melancholicus bird. Mr. David says Tyrannus melancholicus are not native to this region. Yet they come here, nest here, eat and procreate. It's causing an imbalance to birds like Virgil who are native here. They are losing food and territory. As he releases Virgil, it flies to that tree. Tyrannus melancholicus flies out seeing Virgil. Mr. David says Virgil does its job daily as it knew it has the backing of its fellow owl birds. They are on that tree. In life, truly great things can be achieved by cooperation. He asks these two to hatch it up. These two do the act of hugging. JP sneakily steals the keys of his ankles from James. At night JP unlocks his ankle locks. Later he unlocks Camellia, Big Mac, and Micah's uncles. All go for a swim. The next morning when JP woke up, he was beside an old lady who was wandering around. Micah took her to her bed. Later during the day, JP saw the old lady making origami art just like Lily. He was curious. He went up to her and asked, "Where did she get that? Did by any chance a girl called Lily gave it to her?" The old lady gave that origami art to JP, grabbed his hand, and started screaming. James and Cynthia again sedated her. They took her away. Except for JP, she was nice to everyone, hence JP was surprised a bit. Micah calmed JP and said it's not his fault. Old people are unpredictable. But JP was spooked by this, hence at night when everyone was asleep. He sneaked to that lady's bed. There he saw the same butterfly tattoo behind her ears as the one he saw on Lily. This made him believe that this old lady is none other than Lily. JP was scared like hell as he tried to run away from there. James caught him. The next morning at breakfast, Big Mac was enjoying a burger made by Camila. He was delighted at its taste, but was surprised at the absence of JP. These three kids now hatch a plan to find their missing friends. Big Mac and Micah sneaked into the office while keeping Camila on guard. They come to know that Chris and JP were at solitary holding. Clearly, Cynthia and James lied to them. We see JP, Chris, and another fellow in another room. JP looked old, as it seems they have performed some sort of experiment on him. Big Mac was telling all this to Camila when James called him. He put him to repair the AC vent. As Big Mac climbed the ladder and did that, an old man tried stabbing Cynthia. The security guard intervened. He pushed the old man away. In turn hit the ladder. Due to this, Big Mac fell and was knocked out. Cynthia stopped Camelia from calling an ambulance. She took Mac to the emergency room. She wanted to treat him in-house. But the tone of her words, it was clear that she wanted to do something wrong. Mac, who was doing an act of being unconscious, understood this. We see Governor Finn and Mr. Davis at a fast food joint. Governor Finn asks about the business, as this was Mr. Davis's second venture. Apparently here they were using some different kind of meat that these two gentlemen never tried. But Mr. Davis's kids loved it. Back at the center, JP escapes from his cuff. He stumbles upon a password-locked door. He remembers that old lady saying Virgil is the key. He types a few numbers that display Virgil on the screen and the door opens. How this system works is beyond me. Mr. Davis assures the governor that the operation is running smoothly. All 12 plants are running at their capacity. Here JP discovers what really happening here. At the center, Mr. Davis and his team are drugging up captured kids. It changes their hormones, softens their muscle, and places them in accelerated aging. As a side effect, all die as their body twists and turns as Mr. Phillip did. These people then feed the body to the shredding machine and mass-produce meat for their fast food joint. It was an elaborate final solution planned to eliminate illegal immigrants and their family members. JP was horrified seeing this. He tries to run away from here, but he bumps into Micah and explains everything. She was in on this from the start. Her parents were never from Argentina, she was spying. James takes JP away from here. Later we see him in front of Mr. Davis. He says, I am not a cannibal. I don't eat a burger. We need you, people, to do all odd jobs at dirt cheap rates. Due to automation, you are becoming absolute. You are consuming more than contributing. Big Mac was escaping through AC ducts. He drops keys to her ankles at Camila in her room. Camila too tries to escape, but she also ends up aged just like JP. JP finally meets Lily, where she remembered him and his mom. Both share a few moments of joy. Later, Micah, Cynthia, and James arrive to pick up JP, but all the old people at the ward revolt against them. All attack at once at them. JP runs from here as Bruce follows him. These two were brawling in the staff room when Big Mac saw this from above inside the AC duct. He jumped in, attacked Bruce from behind, and strangled him to death with feeding wire. With this, the master alarm went off, and every old people started attacking the guards. Big Mac took a dozen or so people with him and went out to find help. He asked a white lady for help. She, after seeing him, freaked out and drove away in her car. Mac concluded that it's a black thing, not a Latino thing. JP, Lily, and Camila went straight to the basement as the lift malfunctioned. JP asked Camila and Lily to stay behind as he went out. There he saw Chris in a cage. He was about to be shredded. Just then Mr. Davis attacked JP from behind. He complimented him for getting this far. These two fight here, and Camila also joins. She frees Chris, who was on the verge of death. He grabs Mr. David's head and splits it open. Camila places his body on a conveyor belt which shreds it. These guys come out of that center in one piece and were safe. The news of this incident breaks on local news networks. The civil rights lawyer was also arrested as she sent kids to the center. With this, the film ends. Overall, this is a funny and crude take on immigration. Rather a reflection of the harsh difference that exists in the nation. It's a light comedy and one should take it as such. If you like my videos, then please subscribe to my channel. Give it a like. Thanks for watching. Take care.